Hello. So I guess we were doing videos about our perceptions of recording cold and what was going on at the time. So I listened to Dave's video last night and it was really good. I enjoyed it. It was interesting hearing his perspective on everything that was going on at the time and sort of his take on things. And first of all, let me say, yes, we had tons of tension back in the day, but like all of that was buried a long time ago. Mike, Dave, and I worked that out years ago. So it's not like a fresh wound or, or anything like that. And we're all friends and we all get along really well. But at that time, it was very, very tense. And like he said, like we were living at my parents' house. And it's not like my parents had like this massively huge house. It was a really small house. And so we would like stop there in between like going out and doing shows. So it was kind of like a pit stop. And from like my perspective, Dave really isolated himself. Like he didn't really want to go anywhere with us. He didn't want to go hang out. He didn't want to he just kind of kept to himself. And it was really frustrating when we were on tour because, like he said, we were trapped in this little tiny car. Like we didn't have a van or anything. We were literally in a Geostorm, which is a tiny little car with all of our equipment, all of our merch, all of our bags, everything. So we didn't have any me time. So that's great if you're all getting along, but when you're not, it's like torture. Not torture, but awkward to say the least. And so it was really frustrating because, like, from my perspective, I straight up didn't think he liked me, and I felt like he didn't want to be involved in anything. And so it was aggravating because we had all these opportunities coming up, and he didn't want to be involved. And we needed him to be involved. So it was really frustrating. And then, like, with me thinking that he didn't like me, it was, I didn't know what was going on in his brain. And I was like 23 or something at the time. So it's not like I had like this maturity of being able to sit down and talk or anything like that. Not that I wouldn't have been open to that, but it just, there was so much tension that it was just kind of like, avoid it. And okay, well, he doesn't like me, so I guess I don't like him anymore. And so I think everything, it just kept building. And so everything he did would get on my nerves. And I'm sure everything I did got on his nerves, whatever. And so there was that whole very kind of high schooly. Mike, by the way, I'm not speaking for Mike. Mike is not like that. But for me, it felt very like cliquish in a way, I guess, because I felt uncomfortable around him, and like there were some instances where it just was awkward and whatever. It just was frustrating. And like in retrospect, it's like how stupid, because we should have been enjoying everything that was going on. We're young, we're touring, we're playing all these shows, we're getting all these great opportunities. And it just kind of felt like, why is this like guy being a buzzkill? Like, why doesn't he want to be involved? Why doesn't he want to do all of this stuff? And then it put a hindrance on us. And so that was going on. And then we all moved in together in our apartment. And it was fine. But it was awkward. And like we really weren't around each other much because he worked a lot. So we really kind of just saw each other in passing. But there was a lot of tension still, obviously. And like he said, we went into the Typo tour, and that was another thing. Like, he kind of didn't give us an answer. It was kind of like, are you going to go? And he just like kind of was wishy-washy about it. So finally Mike just had to make the decision, we're going on without you. And that was frustrating for us because here we are, two of us, having to stand on stage in front of Typo Negative, which was not an easy tour, to say the least. And it would have helped having another body on stage, you know, especially like a large male body on stage. So it was just all of this. But then when it came to recording, it was really easy. And the flow was just there. And like, I know going into it, the thing was that Dave was supposed to bring 50% of the songs in. Mike was going to bring 50% of the songs in. But Dave just kind of was like MIA. Like, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what he was doing. And I will say, I had nothing to do with writing any of the songs. I know Dave thinks that Mike and I were writing songs, but really that wasn't the case. Mike and I just happened to share a bedroom. So I was in there as he was sort of fiddling around on the keyboard or on the guitars and stuff. I had nothing to do with it. I don't bring my parts in until the songs are already done, basically. And so I think he had a lot of misperceived conceptions about, that's not a word, is it? It can't be. He had a lot of misconceptions, that's the word, about what was going on, and because we didn't talk about it, he didn't know. So like, I've never would ever want to push somebody out of the band or anything like that. We never would have fired him. That never would have happened. He could have stayed in the band as long as he wanted to be involved. He just kind of faded away and left. And so it was never a discussion. It was never like, you're out of the band. It was never like, I'm leaving the band. It was just like, he just kind of left. So that's kind of how it was. And we didn't really talk for a really long time. Mike talked to him like business, but you know, we have since talked about all of this and made amends, and things could have been done better on both sides. But I think it was just this we're young, you know, I have perceptions about you that aren't accurate and vice versa. And we should have just been like, dude, what the fuck, to each other and figured it out. But like, as far as the recording goes, it was so easy. The music was just there. And I don't remember any kind of a struggle. It was really fast. It was very cold physically outside. And it was great recording in this environment where it overlooked this beautiful field and forest and snow. And I think we had like a lot of blizzards we had a big blizzard at that time, I remember. And them guys not being back in Arizona, you know, having lived in Arizona, being back in the Midwest, and Dave for the first time, it was like really exciting. And we used to go and walk in the snow a lot, and I think we even bought a sled or something. But the recording process was just really good, and it was effortless. Like, I didn't struggle, like I never struggled with any of my parts, none of my lyrics. It all just flowed so easily. And it was just such a easy recording, probably easier than any of them. And so much happened during that time period in our lives, and you know, just everything was going on. It was so exciting. Everything was really going up. And shortly thereafter, you know, not too long after that, the floor just dropped out. You know, with Mike's health, his mom passing away, just all this stuff kind of around that same time period. So that's my perception of cold. It's not that great probably, but nevertheless, if you have any other questions or like things you want to know about, just leave comments and I'll try to answer as best I can. I hope this was moderately interesting. I think Dave's was very interesting. Plus he knows all the, you know, gave you all the equipment deets and all that stuff. So that's probably interesting to you techies out there. I just used my vocal cords. I will say on Polaris, I had really bad strep throat, and I can hear it on that song. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a thickness to my voice that was 100% caused by having strep throat. So that's my perceptions. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any other things you want us to talk about, leave me some comments and I'll see if I can make that happen. I love you guys, and Keep in touch. Bye.